Good morning. On behalf of the 2nd Bomb Wing, welcome to Barksdale Air Force Base and the 2nd Mission Support Group Change of Command Ceremony. I am Senior Master Sergeant Zach McKinney of the 2nd Force Support Squadron, and I will be your narrator for today's ceremony. First, some comments on military protocol and ceremony etiquette. During the ceremony, you will be given cues on when to stand and be seated at the appropriate times. During the playing of the national anthem, military members should stand at the position of attention and not render a salute. We invite our civilian guests to join us in honoring our nation by standing and placing your right hand over your heart. Additionally, all military personnel should stand at the position of attention during the presentation of the Legion of Merit and the Change of Command ceremony. Finally, we request all electronic devices be turned off or set to vibrate for the duration of today's ceremony. Thank you. During today's ceremony, Colonel Michael A. Miller will transfer command of the 2nd Mission Support Group from Colonel Sarah Ann Custer to Colonel Randy C. A. Whitecotton. The change of command is an official, formal, and brief ceremony deeply rooted in military tradition. The primary purpose of a change of command is to allow subordinates the opportunity to witness the formality of command change from one officer to another. The ceremony is simple and direct. The guide on exchange represents the transfer of responsibility, authority, and accountability for the mission, airmen, and families of the 2nd Mission Support Group. The COVID-19 pandemic presents us with unique challenges, however. Our goal today is to continue the change of command tradition while recognizing the present constraints of the world. The presiding officer for today's ceremony is Colonel Michael A. Miller, Commander, 2nd Bomb Wing, and he is joined by his spouse, Mrs. Monica Miller. We are honored to have many special guests in attendance. Please hold your applause until all guests are announced. Director of Strategic Plans, Programs, and Requirements, Air Force Global Strike Command, Major General Andrew Jabera. Director of Operations and Communications, Air Force Global Strike Command, Brigadier General Jason Armagost. Brigadier General Retired, Jared Goodfellow. Commander, 307th Bomb Wing, Colonel Stephen Kirkpatrick. Vice Commander, 2nd Bomb Wing, Colonel Scott Wiremuller and his spouse, Mrs. Shauna Wiremuller. Interim Command Chief, 2nd Bomb Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Mark Brown. Command Chief, 307th Bomb Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Robert Safley. Commander, 307th Mission Support Group, Colonel Barry Crane. And representing the Shreveport-Bossier Military Affairs Council, Chief Master Sergeant Retired, Kathy Smith. We extend a warm welcome to Colonel Custer's family, spouse, Mrs. Carla Jordan, and close family friends, Colonel Lisa Pike and Mr. John Pike. We also extend a warm welcome to Colonel Whitecotton's family, spouse, Mrs. Rebecca Whitecotton, daughter, Allison, son, Ethan, who is joining us on social media, and brother and sister-in-law, Scott and Robin Gitrich. Finally, we welcome all group and squadron commanders, directors, chiefs, civic leaders, spouses, friends, members of the 2nd Mission Support Group, Team Barksdale, our community partners, and everyone joining us on Facebook Live. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the entrance of the official party and remain standing for the national anthem and the invocation by Chaplain Buddy Walker.
2nd Bomb Wing Chaplain, Chaplain Walker, will deliver the invocation.
Please join me for a moment of prayer or meditation or a smile. Lord, if we described all the talent, diversity, and skills and miracle working and hotness that make up the mission support group on this base, and built an online profile, wouldn't nobody call us for a date because they think it was catfishing? I praise you for the wonderfully put together women and men who compose this group, and please let them know we think about them a lot, not just when something's broken, spilled, wrecked, arrested, unsecured, oversecured, or in need of renewal. They keep this base fight-worthy. Thank you. And such heroes deserve a worthy leader. Lord, Lord, where do I start with you about Colonel Custer? First off, she's brave. She took this job knowing that the customers included 2 wings, a MAGCOM, a numbered Air Force, and a host of others who are happy to call every time they're unhappy. Like having all the gods of Olympus mad about something all the time and she's on speed dial. Yet, she took the job. She encouraged, empowered, and oftentimes defended her experts, and she did it with grace. She is the balance of warm, smiling eyes and soul-piercing glare that says, now you know that is just not right. Sarah in Hebrew means woman minister. On the topic of sacred callings, you, O Lord, gave us the complete package deal in the holy matrimony of Carla and Sarah Ann. Best part is, after this, we still get to keep them as neighbors right here. And that'll be a double blessing for everyone. Now stepping up to be boss of this outfit is Colonel Randy White Cotton, who comes to us with some CE dirt under his fingernails and a Boilermaker's brains. Another winning combo for MSG. Lord, show us how to help make this the best tour ever for Colonel and Mrs. White Cotton, for Allison, and via affectionate internet extensions, old Ethan out there. And since with you all things are possible, may them middle of the night phone calls not disturb the peace of the White Cotton house so much. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Walker. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The Commander, 2nd Bomb Wing, Colonel Michael Miller.
Thank you, Senior. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this wonderful day on many accounts. I'd like to thank all the distinguished visitors here in the front row for taking time out of your busy schedules for attending this. I know both Randy and Sarah Ann are absolutely honored to have you here. Everybody out in the internet world, thanks for joining us today. And thanks to all the family and friends that made the journey down here to share in this special day. So we were just sitting backstage talking about a year or so ago, or 2 years ago actually, a little over 2 years ago, when Sarah Ann and I first met, and it was on a telephone call, a 2-hour telephone call, briefing us up on all the challenges of historic housing at Barksdale Air Force Base before we ever even took command. And I remember both of us hung up the phone, the other guy hung up the phone on the other end of the line, and I just heard Sarah Ann whisper, "Oh my God, what am I getting into?" And I was like, yep. But man, that just seems like yesterday. But so much has happened between now and then. I had the absolute, best opportunity in the world to be a deputy MSG at one time. And I have a soft spot in my heart for MSG and MSG commanders, because I know the challenges that they have. And without a doubt, it is one of the biggest leadership challenges in our Air Force to be a mission support group commander. It absolutely is. And Sarah Ann, I'm just here to tell you, you absolutely crushed it. Everybody knows, in my wing, at least they should know. If not, we got 13 days to learn it. My priorities of the mission and the airmen and the families. And I always tell them, I always tell my leadership team, that you hear a lot from leaders, that mission first, airmen always. And I always tell them, I go, that's not my philosophy. My philosophy is you take care of the airmen, they will always get the mission done. And there is no group out there that touches all three of those priorities and really impacts the airmen and the families more so than the mission support group. And Sarah Ann, I'll just tell you, when I look back at the accomplishments of your awesome second MSG, I look at it from a mission perspective. Think about it. Think about your defenders, your mighty defenders, and how they've defended this base, how we sent them downrange to fight the base over at Fairford, how we have empowered them to do the best they can with what they got in executing the nuclear mission here at Barksdale. They crushed it and knocked it out of the park, and all the while kept this base defended. Look at your logistics readiness squadron. You can't spell BTF without LRS. And I'll tell you what, no LRS in the world could have generated the air power for those two responses to Iran in less than 72 hours. You put hundreds of airmen through mobility line, through M9 firing to make sure everybody was qualled. I mean, it could not have been done without the professionals in your LRS. It could not have been done. Look at your comm squadron. During COVID, our primary means of operating was teleworking. Who kept us going during that? It was not just the second bombing that your comm squadron kept going. It was a headquarters, a numbered Air Force, and 32 tenant units that they kept going teleworking and kept our network safe. Absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal. And you know, speaking of COVID, who's been our heroes during COVID? Our FSS. I've never seen an FSS step it up like they have during COVID, providing all those opportunities for airmen to do stuff while they were on stay-at-home orders, and not only do it, but do it for free. Now, Randy, you're gonna have to pay for that later on, but just keeping the resiliency of our airmen at a level that the COVID crisis did not impact them. I mean, you cannot underestimate the value of your FSS, right? And you own 2/3 of the holy trinity of getting stuff done on an Air Force base. And I edited that for PG consumption. Really, the holy trinity of getting anything done on an Air Force base is your civil engineering squadron, your contracting squadron, and your comptroller squadron. You cannot get anything done without those three. And you own both of those. Your civil engineering squadron, the way they have things teed up ready to execute, the way they take care of a 90-year-old base with 90-year-old homes and 90-year-old infrastructure, plus 22,000 acres of land full of 65 alligators that we just counted a couple weeks ago. There's probably more than that. I mean, just think about that responsibility. Think about it. Think about it. And your contracting squadron. I mean, who has ever heard of a wing that was able to spend 3 times more end-of-year money at the end of the year, that was teed up, ready to execute it, and actually executed 3 times more than any other base in Air Force Global Strike Command? That was your contracting squadron. Absolutely phenomenal. So when it came to mission, airmen, and family, your group did it, crushed it, and took care of it. And I, as a personal note, as somebody who is now one of my dearest friends, you and Miss Carla, you are Monica and I's dearest friends now. I'll just tell you what, man, you are one of the best leaders I've ever served with in this Air Force. You did it with compassion, you did it with enthusiasm, you did it with a little Detroit, which we needed once in a while, all right? And I'll tell you what, I'll go to war with you anywhere. Both our broke bodies won't go to war with you anywhere. All right? Sarah, from the deepest depths of my heart, thank you. Thank you. Miss Carla, you have been an awesome wing woman, you've been an awesome neighbor, and you've been an awesome support for my wife right there when times got rough. The two of you were absolutely a phenomenal pair. And your efforts with the housing council, the residence council, your efforts with just being that retired chief, looking at me, I said, one time, true story, I said, Miss Carla, I said, can I park my boat over in your driveway because I got to do some repair work to these trees there, I got to do some tree trim. She goes, no. I go, why not? She goes, because you're not supposed to have a boat in housing. And I said, okay. I'll ask the OG's wife. But thanks for keeping me honest. Thanks for being that retired chief that made Barksdale better. And more importantly, thanks for keeping her going. Thanks for being that individual that absolutely just kept her coming to work every day, kept her sanity, and thank you for everything. So Randy, I don't know if you've thought about it yet, but Barksdale is its own beast when it comes to mission support group. And like you heard me say earlier, you've got a MATSCOM, a numbered Air Force, 2 wings, a TFI partnership, 32 tenant units, 22,000 acres, 90-year-old stuff. You, needless to say, are going to be busy. You are the right man for it. I've heard, the background checks and all the people who called me and said, hey, you're getting Randy Whitecott. You are the man for the job. I'll give you the same advice that General Rand gave me before I took command. You got 2 years, drive it like you stole it. Especially since you own the cops, you don't have to worry about that. So you can drive it like you stole it. But I tell you what, it's a challenge, but when you get through this and you look back at the end, you're gonna be proud of what you did, and you're gonna be proud to be a part of this awesome base and this awesome wing. Because, and I failed to mention, Sarah Ann, your efforts, no small part played a huge contribution to this wing winning the Fairchild Trophy, coming out of Global Strike, especially your defenders, the way they shot and the way they performed during Global Strike Challenge. No small matter to this wing winning the Castle Award for the best bomb wing in the Air Force, and by no small part, you played a huge part in this wing getting the Air Force Outstanding Unit Award just this couple months ago. So nice job. And I wish you good luck to the White Cottons. Drive it like you stole it, all right? Enjoy it here. Embrace all that is Louisiana. Embrace all that is Barksdale. And I promise you, you'll look back on this and you'll be like, man, that was a lot of fun. You'll be tired, but you're gonna look back and say, that was a lot of fun. So I wish you all the best. Monica and I will just be down the road if you need anything. Carla and Sarah Ann will be just across the street if you really need anything. But I wish you all the best of luck. So with that, we've got some decorations to hand out, and then we'll get on with the business of this change of command. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colonel Miller. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as Colonel Miller presents the Legion of Merit to Colonel Custer. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Legion of Merit to Colonel Sarah Ann Custer. Colonel Sarah Ann Custer distinguished herself by exceptionally meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 2nd Mission Support Group, 2nd Bomb Wing, Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana, from 11 July 2018 to 10 July 2020. In this important assignment, Colonel Custer's exceptional leadership, exemplary foresight, and superior initiative resulted in significant contributions to the effectiveness and success of Air Force Global Strike Command's largest bomb wing, as well as at operations at Headquarters Air Force Global Strike Command, Headquarters 8th Air Force, an Air Force Reserve Wing, and 32 associate units. Orchestrating maintenance, upkeep, and repair of over 1,200 facilities across 22,000 acres, she ensured the security, welfare, and support of over 8,964 military and civilian employees, 5,644 family members, and 25,000 retirees. Colonel Custer fortified the wing's demanding dual designated operational mission requirements by leading the command's largest and busiest deployment team, flawlessly deploying more than 8,605 passengers and 2,448 tons of cargo, supporting overseas contingency operations as well as continuous presence in 4 Bomber Task Force deployments. Furthermore, Colonel Custer's leadership enabled reception, control, and support for multiple natural disasters, including hurricane evacuations to Barksdale Air Force Base for 6 wings, 488 personnel, and 181 aircraft, ultimately securing over $5.1 billion in assets. Her authentic leadership inspired many across the installation, culminating with the 2nd Bomb Wing Chiefs Group unanimously deeming her as an honorary chief. Moreover, she led a proactive multi-level support campaign for 40,000 personnel during the global coronavirus-19 pandemic, ensuring uninterrupted mission execution and minimizing widespread infection. Finally, under her command, the team garnered 26 command-level awards, including the 2019 Fairchild Trophy and the Brigadier General Frederick W. Castle Award for the Best Bomb Wing in Air Force Global Strike Command. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel Custer reflect great credit upon herself and the United States Air Force. Thank you, Colonel Miller. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Colonel Custer will now make some remarks.
All right, so Chief told me to wing it, which I think that's what my predecessor did, and it went on for 45 minutes. So I don't want to do that, so I'm going to do a mix, Chief, all right? Is that okay with you? All right, good. Excuse the glasses. Colonel Jabir, Colonel Armagas, or excuse me, General, see, that's why I should read. General Armagas, General Jabera, General Goodwin, is that you, Wall Street? Can't see that far. Okay. Wall Street and rest of the distinguished guests, thank you so much for attending today. I know you have extremely busy schedules. Buddy, where's Buddy? Buddy, you make me almost want to go back to church, dude. I love you. And then I'd like to say thank you to the original Tuskegee Airmen. Because of you, I am. Let there be no mistake. Colonel Miller, thank you for letting me own my airspace. Thank you for always giving me room to maneuver, for trusting me, usually listening to me. And when you didn't, and it turned out all right, you never threw it back in my face. And that meant a lot. Working under your command couldn't have been better. I appreciate you. I love you as a brother. And Carl and I look forward to coming to your house once you build a pool. So the list of people today I have to thank is infinitely longer than I could spend here thanking people. But I wrote down a few names, and please, if I've forgotten somebody, just chalk it up to my 53 years on this earth. First to my squadron commanders, first sergeants, and superintendents. I couldn't have asked for a better group of squadron commanders. I see some of my former ones, Mick, even showed up. I truly believe what General Goldfein said, which is the pyramid goes like this, and I am here to support you. And that's what I loved about this front row of generals. They supported us and let me know when things were wrong, but didn't ride us too hard, so I didn't have to, bring that down to us. So to my squadron leadership, you guys owned it, you took care of it, and everything they read on that declaration we know was you. And I'm very proud to have led you. To my office family, to Tiffany, Frank, Steve, Eric, Mark, Christina, Chelsea, Tom, Sandy, Esther, AJ, CJ. Hopefully CJ's looking through the internet and seeing this. You have seen me at my best and at my worst. I still remember times when you would come into my office and you'd say, ma'am, it's enough, you gotta go home. Or ma'am, you need to take a knee. You tell your squadron commanders to do that. And because of that, how well you took care of me, you will forever have my loyalty. You have taken care of the MSG in this base more than they'll ever know. And for that, we are all grateful. To the support agencies, OSI, JAG, Wood, I see you over there, Safety, IG, XP, APs, DECA, I couldn't have asked for better mission partners. Mr. Penrod, I'm finishing that IG complaint. This evening, I'll have it to you. I have one last one. And by the way, it was not substantiated. But to those support agencies, you all worked in partnership with us to make sure we made this a better base. It was never adversarial, and it was always supportive, and for that I thank you. To the enlisted members who kept me grounded and humble, retired and current senior NCOs, Big Ed, Court Sartain, Zach McKinney, Deandra Simmons, Marcus Johnson, Dee Kearney, Lori Beeson, Beverly Weiser, Adriana Jenkins, and so many more sitting out here today. You know how I feel about the enlisted. I come from an enlisted family, and I know you're the engine that keeps this base running. So thank you. To the retired chiefs, Erica Shipp, Herb Ray, Chicky Kelly, Chief Davlos, my Iraq buddy, and current chiefs, Christina Roger, Justin Dice, Joanna Bass, congrats sis, I'm so proud of you. And so many more. Thank you so much for taking me under your wings, pulling me aside when I needed to, and lifting me up when I needed to. To my peerless peers, you realize that this is a team sport. Chris Hudson mentioned yesterday at his retirement about the Dream Team. Every month I had a telecon with the Global Strike MSGs, and sometimes I heard stories at other bases. And I gotta tell you, boss, you set the standard for us. You let us know that we were a team, and you came in like that. And Sugar, and Dave, and Chris, and Macho, you guys were like my brother. And it was never adversarial, and it was always a team sport. And I really thank you for that. And speaking of team sports, Collins, Molman, Dale Hernandez, you guys were up on the staffs. You never came down on us hard. You always said, what can we do to help? And for that, and many others I can't mention, thank you, and I look forward to working with you guys up on staff. To my civilian and officer mentors, both professionally and personally, First General Rand for diverting me from Spangdahlem to Barksdale. Sir, I do thank you for that. You were right. This was the right base for me. To Mr. Sitterly, Colonel G.I., Mr. Edwards, General and Mrs. Spooner, Mr. Pride, my godfather, and Miss Joy, Mark Gear, Miss Luce LaCoyer, Frank Daly, and Paul Williamson, to just name a few. You never stopped coming into my office or calling me on my phone or stopping me to give me your advice. And for that, I truly appreciate it. To my chopsticks, and I'm sorry, this is just gonna take a second. So when I had my car accident and subsequent surgeries in Germany, there was a day that I was feeling pretty down. And I was like, Lord, I can't go on like this. And I looked outside my window and I saw a sunflower that a few months before had broken in half. And I propped it up with two little chopsticks. And I was sitting with this halo holding my head up, waiting for somebody to come take me to the restroom. They had to come to my house because I couldn't even walk. And while I was waiting there and I was praying to the Lord, I'm like, I can't do this. I'm not that strong. I glanced out my window and I saw that chopstick was the tallest and strongest of all the sunflowers that I had planted. So I call these people my chopsticks because they hold me up when I'm too broken to take care of myself, when I was too in the dark to pray for myself. You crossed your arms around me and lifted me up in prayer. And I truly know God places people in my life to help me during those times. First and foremost is Lisa and John Pike. Jamie and Heather, your friendship and support have meant the world to me. The minute I interviewed Chief, I knew he was my chief. He was all about the people. It was never about him, and he was never afraid to come in, and I am tough. And he was never afraid to come in and shut the door and tell me, you are heading in the wrong direction, and you need to adjust course. And I listened to him. Most of the time, and when I was wrong, he didn't rub it in my face. To Joni Howe, Chaplain retired, Colonel Cherry Wheeler, Chaplain Buddy Walker, Macho, this is your happy face. This is your sad face. This is your angry face. I appreciated you more than you will ever know. You kept a steady pace with all of us. You let us come in and vent with you and bounce ideas off you or gain your help to talk to the boss. And you were the right person for the right wing commander. and I hope we stay lifelong friends. Excuse me. To Emily and Josh Schwanger, Mr. Josh Schwanger. I can never thank you enough. Coming from the family that I come from, making chief is amazing. And I still wear the rank every day right here. So thank you so much, and I look forward to our continued friendship. To my family, my mother, my aunt and uncle, my Aunt Leah, my Uncle Raymond, and Uncle Frank, who both served in the military, I wish you could have been here. You've been here for every momentous part of my military career, and I'm so sorry you couldn't be here. But know that your example has driven me on and made me want to be a better person and a better officer. To my sisters, Shannon and Jackie DePalte, my adopted big sister, thank you always for your support. And to my brother, Mike McAleenan, thank you so much for taking care of my mother. During all the times I couldn't be there to take care of her because of my job. I'm so sorry. To Carla, there were days when I didn't think I could get up. The phone calls in the middle of the night, Randy. Ooh. Oh, sleep is an important thing. I'm going to sleep for the next week. You were always there. Even this morning, I got up, and you're just so quiet and humble about it. And I get up, and my boots are ready, and they're not covered with mud from the other day when we went out mudding. I hadn't cleaned my boots. I mean, just little things, and you help the other spouses, both above you and below you. You are such a person of faith and so strong, and I can never thank you enough. And when I had to be nice and cordial and colonelly to everybody else, and I came home and I just was like, oh, you just took it. And sometimes you would chief me and tell me, listen, Nancy, put on your big girl pants and buck up. And I needed it. I wouldn't have been able to do this command without you. To Randy and Rebecca, I'm sorry that was so long, but I gotta tell you, you're getting a phenomenal group. These men and women that are here today, my fire department, my cops, my CE, my LRS, are soon to be your cops, CE, fire department, LRS, all of that. They're yours. And I know, because I did a lot of road checks, that you believe in taking care of people. And you need to take care of them. And they will take care of you. It's the most amazing group of people I've worked with in 25 years of military service. I wish you the best. I'll continue to keep you in my prayers. If there's anything you need, I'm just across the street. If we ever get you into that house, Chris. No pressure, Chris. And if I've forgotten anybody, I truly apologize. And the last thing I just need to say, because I always do mentoring moments, folks know that. So this morning, the mentoring moment popped to me. This is a coin my grandfather gave me. It's a silver half dollar. And he was the first one to salute me. And you have to know that my grandfather started life as a pretty bigoted person who convinced my mom to give me up for adoption, which she did for 4 months before she decided she could raise me. He thought that a white person couldn't raise a black child, and he was wrong. All it takes is love. So as all this craziness is going on outside the gate, please remember commanders, leaders, everyone. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter who you love. It doesn't matter what religion you are. We cannot be divided. It is our job to defend the United States, and we can only do that if we are together. Thank you, and God bless.
Second Mission Support Group, in recognition of Colonel Custer's leadership, let's give her one more proud to be MSG. Proud to be! MSG! Proud to be! MSG! Proud to be! MSG!
of the men and women of the 2nd Mission Support Group, I would like to thank Mrs. Jordan for her support and outstanding service to the men and women of the group and Team Barksdale. We extend our best wishes to the Custer family in their new endeavors at Headquarters, Air Force Global Strike Command. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the change of command ceremony. The passing of the 2nd Mission Support Group Guidon symbolizes the passing of authority for the mission and personnel of the group from Colonel Custer to Colonel White Cotton. The Guidon bearer is Chief Master Sergeant Jamie Prince, Mission Support Group Chief Enlisted Manager.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Headquarters, 2nd Bomb Wing, Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana. Special Order Number Golf, X-Ray 011. Colonel Randy C.A. White Cotton assumes command of the 2nd Mission Support Group from Colonel Sarah Ann Custer, effective 10 July 2020. Signed, Michael A. Miller, Colonel, United States Air Force, Commander, 2nd Bomb Wing.
Sir, I relinquish command.
Sir, I assume command.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my honor to present the Commander, 2nd Mission Support Group, Colonel Randy C.A. White Cotton.
Good morning. Major General Guevara, Brigadier General Angast, Brigadier General Goodfellow, my old boss, Colonel Mrs. Miller, Colonel Mrs. Waymuller, from Macros, Colonel and Mrs. Pike, Mrs. Smith, Command Chief Mrs. Swanger, fellow colonels, chiefs, community leaders who include our honorary group commander, Dr. Maggio, Carla, and Mr. Hernandez, commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, Chaplain Walker. Look forward to getting to know you, Team Barksdale family and friends. I appreciate the extremely warm Southern hospitality, and may I key in on the word warm? I thought it was warm in Washington, D.C. Wow. This humidity is going to be fun. And an extremely kind welcome to Barksdale Air Force Base. I've really seen how the Southern hospitality lives on here. I thank God for this beautiful day, which I honestly didn't think would come over the last 5 years. I'd also like to take this time to show some gratitude to my family, my friends, mentors of mine, and several mentors who couldn't join us, some of whom could, like Goodfellow, and then some who couldn't join us today, like my old colonel, three-time boss, Ed Oshibano, SES, Brigadier General Bill Kale, and Colonel Lance Clark. Sarah Ann talked about some senior NCO mentors she's had, Senior Master Sergeant retired Jaime Tavares, my first duty station. Eric Neela, I don't know if he's in the audience, he and I served together in my first command. He's now with the fire department here. And peers, lots and lots of peers and peer mentors I've had over my career. And also the Barksdale Air Force Base team, thank you for this awesome opportunity to serve our country and to serve our Air Force. And as I mentioned, I'd like to thank my current and past mentors today, and I'm truly honored, appreciative, and blessed for all you've imparted on me. Over the past 26 years, you've motivated, inspired, and led me through numerous professional and personal challenges. I promise over the next 2 years that I will continue to strive and live up to your high standards and pass on your leadership lessons to our airmen. And just as I was reminded at the gate last night, those airmen can teach you not only humility, but professionalism. As I mentioned if I can highlight one word during this talk, it would be gratitude. Therefore, I'd like to first extend special appreciation to my amazing wife of 26 years, Rebecca, who joins me today, with our daughter, Allison, whereas our son, Ethan, who's watching from his new office at the U.S. Geological Survey outside of Washington, D.C. As you well know, from our personal experiences, serving in the military is a team sport with our spouses and our children and our parents serving as coaches and star players on this team. We'd not be able to accomplish what we do for the Air Force and our nation without their support. And Rebecca, through 11 PCSs, 14 moves, across 2.5 decades, you've been there at my side, patiently supporting, nudging, and leading, whether at home, working, or volunteering, full-time in 3 different squadrons at church and in the kids' school. You've led in raising our 2 wonderful children into successful young adults who they are today, and sometimes doing so alone for 3 years worth of deployments, and not counting the hundreds of TDYs during that time. Ethan, our son who graduated magna cum laude from the Rochester Institute of Technology, fortunately gets my wife's smarts. He graduated last year as a biomedical photographer. He's now putting his keen eye and graphic talents into practice for the USGS. And Allison, who follows in her mother's footsteps, is an intelligent and, may I say, independent and vibrant young lady. She's a rising senior at Purdue University, studying to be a kindergarten teacher. I'm forever indebted to my family for their patience and lifelong support of me and our nation. So Rebecca, you are my inspiration. I love you. Second, I'd like to thank my parents. Frank and Jane Wycott, who couldn't be here today. My dad, who was an Air Force Master Sergeant, inspired me quietly to serve and passed away last May. And my mom, who really wanted to be here today, but is safely watching from Chicago. Thank you for the values you instilled in me as I grew up with my 2 brothers. And to my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, Scott and Robin Gittrich, thank you for coming such a long way. It really means a lot to have you here with us. Along with my families and mentors, I'm fortunate to have so many positive role models like you in my life. I cannot thank you enough for what you have done for our family and continue to do for our nation, and will continue to support us. To the 2 airmen who lost in my first squadron, Ricky and Chris, as I pledge to your families within the 2nd Mission Support Group, we will focus on the mission with safety, dignity, and readiness at the forefront of what we do every day. Colonel Miller, thank you. Thank you for selecting me to lead this prestigious unit. Having the confidence to do so, I want to thank you and future 2nd Bomb Wing leaders in advance for all your patience, support, and mentorship. I promise you the 2nd Mission Support Group will continue to exceed your expectations. We'll empower our airmen to the best of their ability and maintain a professional environment that cultivates excellence, treats airmen, veterans, and families with respect, and cares for all airmen and their families. Colonel Custer, thank you for all your support to ensure our transition was smooth and enjoyable. I appreciate the warm welcome and the sacrifices that you and Carla have made over the past few weeks and months to accommodate our family's transition during a COVID pandemic. You're truly a class act, and I wish you the best in your future endeavors. And because you're only moving across the street to Global Strike, we now expect you to show the 2nd Bomb Wing the money, the resources, and the personnel support in your new Global Strike Command as ZA-1. I'd also like to thank Lieutenant Chelsea Grimison, Miss Esther Patrick, Tech Sergeant Tom Parsons, Lieutenant Darian Johnson, Chief Prince, who's probably getting tired of me just babbling here, having to hold the guide on. Chaplain Walker, Senior Master Sergeant McKinney, our narrator, Senior Airman Tessa Corrick, our photographer. You know, I hold a special place in my heart for photographers, my son being one. Senior Airman Kathy Giannis, our escort. Janice and the protocol team for all their help and support. My family and I are extremely grateful for everything the front office team has done for us over the past couple months. And to my new Barksdale Air Force Base teammates, both on active duty and reserve duty, both military and civilian, I look forward to meeting you, partnering with you, and learning more about your missions. I promise to do my best to provide you with the effective and efficient support to ensure your no-fail missions succeed. As I recall Henry Ford's insight, coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. Finally, to the men and women of the 2nd Mission Support Group, as Billy Crystal would say, you look marvelous, even if it's behind your COVID-19 masks. I'm truly impressed from what I've heard from Sarah Ann and what I've seen in the last couple of days with what you accomplish day in and day out. You have the tough mission to support some of our nation's most important and time-sensitive tasks. And together, as a team, we will ensure all airmen are treated with dignity and respect. I'm truly humbled to serve as your commander of the 2nd Mission Support Group, and I promise you I will never forget, though I may need some prodding, Chief, to always be there for you and to execute our mission on behalf of you and to serve with you. Therefore, I look forward to serving alongside you, doing so safely, and meeting each and every one of you as I get to know you and hear your story as fellow airmen. Lastly, all current orders and policies remain in place. Let's go. Proud to be? MSG! Proud to be? MSG! Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Whitecotton. On behalf of the men and women of the 2nd Mission Support Group, I would like to welcome Colonel Whitecotton's spouse, Rebecca, and their children, Allison and Ethan, to our Mission Support Group family. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Please stand for the playing of the Air Force song, the departure of the official party and family, and please remain standing in place until the official party and family have exited. We regret we will not host a reception due to current Air Force guidelines on social distancing. At the conclusion of the ceremony, please come forward and welcome Colonel Whitecotton and his family while observing the 6 feet social distancing rule. Thank you for attending today's change of command ceremony, and have a great day.